How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in place? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Welcome to another episode of the Tactical Empire. I am here with Ashley Herrera. She is a mortgage expert, home builder, and new TV host. So I'm excited to talk to Ashley today and figure out what she's got going on. Thanks for joining me, Ashley.
Yeah, Jeff, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be a guest on your podcast. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. I know you're super busy with everything you guys have going on. So I'm excited to catch up, and I'm excited to talk to you about all the different things you guys have going on today. Tell me about this TV show.
Yeah, so awesome. This TV show is called The American Dream, and it's basically a show showing the community's lifestyle, events, different things that happen around the community. So right now I live in San Marcos, Texas. So I'm focusing on San Marcos as well as what's in between Austin and San Antonio. So they call that the corridor is basically what they call it. So every small itty bitty town in between that's pretty much conjoining together is what I'll be highlighting. So I've already filmed 3 episodes. I'll be filming another one in the next couple of weeks. And I got 2 aired and another one will air next month. So
that's so cool. That is so cool. And
it's pretty exciting.
Being from down here, I know that area well. There's some really great towns and some interesting stuff. So yeah, that's awesome. What are you hitting on specifically, or what's been your favorite show so far?
My favorite one so far was a development called Kissing Tree. So the development is geared to 55 plus individuals, but they have such a unique lifestyle there, and they have like a ginormous swimming pool, a huge gym. They have a golf course. They pretty much have everything that you want in a community, and it's gated, it's protected. You have the different homes, the types of homes out there. It's just the whole lifestyle out there was awesome. So whenever I walked in, I was like, wow, this is beautiful. Like all the landscaping, everything is just top notch. And then of course, I have my mom, she's getting to that age. I'm like, Mom, you're gonna have to check this out so we can come and visit.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Kissing Tree, huh? Where is that the town name?
No, it's actually in San Marcos, and they call
okay.
it Kissing Tree. Yeah, so it's a development within San Marcos, and it's huge.
Huh. Interesting. That is so cool.
Yeah.
So your main business though is like, I'm assuming that the TV hosting is not your main business yet, because mortgages is your main business, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mortgages,
so
yeah.
And that's residential mortgages, correct?
Yeah. I primarily focus on residential mortgage for like primary residence, investment properties. I do have an avenue for commercial properties as well. But my main focus is primary and investments.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just sent you someone the other day. So
yeah,
that's awesome. As you get down the investment and the commercial side of things, I want to know more about what you've got to offer and what you've got access to. Because obviously that's what I'm dealing with more than anything else in what I'm doing. But you guys are also home builders, right? And you're developing different, we were talking about a development you have going in Abilene right now.
Yeah.
How did you get into that space?
So with mortgages, I really see a lot that happens on the other side, meaning I get to see where the gaps are. So the affordable housing market is obviously a huge gap, and that has always been something that I have looked at and wondered if anybody will ever, jump in to be able to help the community with providing affordable homes. Well, it's still not so much there. So that kind of began my journey, and then also watching HGTV, of course. seeing all the awesome things on TV, and fixing a home and making it look beautiful. And honestly, that was the first thing that we had gotten into. And someone had one of our subcontractors had asked us, why don't you build a house? And at that time, it's like, whoa, that's way out of our scope. I don't know if that's something we can do.
Yeah.
But after doing some research and just taking the action and taking that step to figure out what you have to do, that's how we got started. We did our first rehab, and then for our second one, which was going to be rehab, it ended up being a new construction home. So it was a lot of learning, a lot of steps to understand, going forward and then going backwards because we skipped a step. So
Nope.
Definitely learning, and then not even getting that mentorship. So it slowed us down a lot. But we were able to get through it, and we got our first house done. I think it was 4 months that we had completed it, and then we sold it to a cash buyer within 3 days. So
Wow.
once we got that done, we're like, wow, we just really did this. And then, we built another one. We rehabbed in between with that new build. And then I ended up finding a deal of picking up 7 individual lots and ran with it. So we just finished those 7. And we actually closed on the 7th house last week.
Amazing. So you sold it off, the 7th one.
Yep.
Okay.
We finished all 7, and we sold it to the last family, or the one family that bought the 7th house out of those 7 lots. Yeah.
Are you getting them contracted while you're still under construction, or are they on the market after construction, or what are you seeing out there?
So what we did with these first 7 is about halfway of construction, we listed them on the like the MLS, and then within it was 4 days we got 2 contracted, and then eventually all of the rest followed through. So we did get them contracted and sold before we were completed.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. How are you guys picking markets?
Markets is basically the affordability, because we want to be able to provide the affordability of homes. So focusing on like Abilene, San Angelo, more the West Texas area. We're also from there, so we know the markets a little bit more than we do here in the corridor area.
Yeah.
And of course, corridor area is just more expensive to be able to build, and access to land. So the availability of land is really kind of where it's at for us. It's like, are we getting a good deal? Are we able to have enough spread to be able to build homes, still make, money on them, and still provide an affordable home?
Yeah.
So that's something we look at.
Yeah. Most of my houses that I own are under, well, now 300,000. And so that's kind of my target market as well. I buy them and I rehab them, and then I rent them. So the BRRRR method is what I've done on almost every one of our properties. And so I'm in the same space, but not doing ground up like you guys. That's just been a very tumultuous market over the last 2 years with all the supply chain issues and everything else. And I mean, the cost of goods went up 35, 40%, if not more, on certain items during that period of time. I mean,
you're absolutely right. And the funny thing is we had gotten right when COVID happened. So right when everything was going up. So us being brand new to it, we didn't really feel that hit. So we're just like, hey, we're gonna roll with it. We're still making enough spread to be able to sell these houses.
Yeah.
So whenever it does get to that, down, hopefully, if it ever does, then wow, we're gonna be in a really great place then.
Right.
But we're not like the other builders that had it really great and then got hit with these high prices, and then seeing their spread get smaller and smaller. So we'll be just as happy.
Well, a lot of times what happens, I mean, you see it in oil and gas too, is that during the times when it's boom time and they're making a lot of money, they add a lot of fat to their business. And so you guys have the benefits of running lean because you don't know any better. And so, so, so you're not overstaffed. You're not running like these huge gluttonous budgets that kind of, I mean, it's just it's nature of running a business. Like you get that leak over time, especially during good times. And so when the screws tighten, you feel it more and more. But that's awesome. I'm super happy for you guys that you've taken this on and you're running with it. I mean, you've done 7 so far. You've got 4 more in the pipeline, right?
So we've actually completed 9.
9. Okay.
So
good.
the 7 were in Abilene, and then we have another 6 coming up.
Okay, great. Are you going to hold on to any of them?
We have been talking about that. So we're probably going to sell half and hold the other half. Because again, that's something that we want to be able to expand our portfolio on, is being able to have, that money accessible to us monthly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely in the books.
Yeah, for sure. I know a lot of flippers who make a lot of money, and I know you're not flipping, but it's similar. Like you're turning and you're getting those checks, and that's sexy. Yeah. And it's enticing, but the real wealth over time is built in how much you're holding on to.
Yes.
So a lot of the flippers don't understand that side of things for years, and then they'll flip for 10 years and their expenses will be so high that they have to just keep on doing it. And almost to a man, anybody I know that's been in that industry for any period of time is like, I'm kicking myself for not keeping like 1 a quarter. And like, if I just held on to 1, I'd have 4 the first year, 8 the second year, 12, and so on. And like, that's super conservative and like pretty easy to do once you're moving at volume. And so, yeah, I mean, that's so exciting for you guys. I'm happy to hear it. How long have you been in the mortgage industry?
I've been in the industry since 2011. Yeah, no, 2010. So this is what, the 11th year? Yeah.
Oh, you hopped in just at a great time. You were like, oh, this entire industry is decimated. I think I'll just hop in there and see what it's all about.
Yeah. And I started from the very bottom. I used to work for a big bank as a teller. I went from a teller to a teller manager, then went to a smaller bank, started as a processor, and then I really jumped into the mortgage industry as a loan officer assistant, and then became a processing business for loan officers, and then became a loan officer, and then now a branch manager. So I've been through the ranks.
That's good though, because you know how to make things work. Because a lot of times, I mean, that's what it's all about. As you know, I mean, I've got like, I don't know, 60 mortgages or something I'm manipulating at any given time, and dealing with loan officers and mortgage officers. I mean, a lot of times it's about the experience of your mortgage officer to find ways to get things done. And so that's super important. And knowing the entire chain as you do is certainly very beneficial, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree. I would say that any loan officer or anybody getting into the industry who starts from the bottom and then works their way to the top, they're going to be the best loan officers in the industry.
What are you seeing as far as qualifying right now? Like who's getting mortgages?
Anybody who qualifies. So every lender is going to have their different criteria of what they want their client to qualify for, or the criteria being like what your credit score needs to be, what your debt to income ratio needs to be, what kind of products the lender has available. And fortunately, I work for a company that allows me to be able to help clients with lower credit scores get into homes. I mean, they meet the guidelines. So long as they meet that, they deserve a home.
Okay. I'm always tracking the lending market and seeing what it's doing and who's getting loans and things like that. So some of the stuff you've been posting recently has been very interesting to me, because like a lot of times everybody's like, oh, we're crashing, we're going to crash, we're going to crash, blah, blah, blah. But like what they don't understand is that 2008 was completely different than the market today. Yes, we've got inflation. Yes, what prices are going crazy. But there's a million factors in those prices going crazy. One of the most interesting things that I've been watching over the last year or so is that, because the rates were super low. So everybody was refinancing, everybody was getting mortgages, everybody was buying houses, like moving, trying to buy their dream home at 2% or 1.9%, right? But the average credit score of the people getting approved was over 740 at like as of a year ago. And the other thing that was completely different, like in 2008, for those of you that are young bucks, like people were getting loans at 500 credit scores. It was a different ball game. And there was also 5-1 arms and 3-1 arms and all kinds of shit. It was crazy, fun times. But the other thing that's super interesting, and this was even before we were seeing these major appreciation numbers like 20, 30% annually, was that the nationwide across the US, the homeowners had like record-setting amounts of equity in the homes, meaning like the amount of equity that the average homeowner had was like 46% or something when it comes to the average retail value of their home. And so, which was also completely different than 2008, where it was like upside down, right? They had like negative equity in their homes. And that's what led to the bubble and all that shit. But I mean, there was a lot of factors involved in that, but I'm just interested to see, because I saw you post something about like somebody getting approved at like 640 or 600 or something like that. And I haven't been seeing that as much this time. And so is that a special product or anything like that? Or am I airing trade secrets, or is this an uncomfortable topic?
No, it's not at all. Cause that's what kind of clientele I help. I help with, honestly, I help with credit scores down to a 500 for FHA. That's just the guideline for FHA. They go down to a 500. VA, there's no minimum credit score.
Right.
So you see other banks, they want a 640, 700, 720. Well, they're losing out on veterans being able to purchase a home because they're doing that. Same thing for like USDA. There's no minimum credit score for that either. Now, again, why the lenders are wanting higher credit scores is because the risks that they're wanting to take, and they just don't want to take those risks. So long as they meet the guidelines, they're going to qualify. That's the best way I can put it. It's not an industry secret. It's nothing that has been kept away or tucked away. It's always been there. It's just that a lot of people will go up on the internet to see what the credit score requirement is for a loan. Well, you're reading something based off of a lender who says that and who has those risks to where they want a 640 or 720. So it's the availability of finding a lender who's going to be able to offer the programs for you to be able to qualify. So back to the topic of 2008, there was no doc loans where people were making up their income, saying whatever they wanted to say that their income was. The loan officers were participating in that, as well as appraisers who were saying how houses were in so much higher than what they actually were. There was no regulation whatsoever, and now there is. So there's so much regulation now that people are afraid to say things like, oh, let's talk about a rate. Nope, ain't talking about a rate because I'm not going to get fined. Well,
yes, it was bananas back then. It was amazing. It was amazing. Some of it was good, some of it was bad, some of it I mean, I had an apartment and some rental houses back then, and the biggest thing that has been a pain in the ass for me personally, it has been the appraiser side of things. That has changed. In my opinion, the pendulum swung too far there. They're so scared of losing their license that they won't appraise shit even where it's supposed to be. in my experience. Now go back to 2006, 2007. I could stand in the yard with my appraiser and he's like, what do you need? And I'm like, this. And he's like, I'll be done in 20 minutes. And like, it used to be like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand, but, and that wasn't the best either. Right. But now they've been threatened with like all this shit and they're scared shitless. So like what should be a $400,000 house, they will not write above 360 for any reason because they're like, absolutely not. And even if you show them like the comps next door, you're like, this is this, and they won't do it. Which has kind of changed their relationship too. I find that more appraisers are assholes now too. Like I feel like they're kind of like flight attendants. They've got this real bad attitude because we've empowered them with like this level of like hammer and sickle. Like, they're just ready to, they're like, we're going to screw you over, investor, or even homeowner, right? Because it hurts you as well. Because if it doesn't praise high enough, they can't qualify, or they have to bring so much down payment now that they can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So I agree with the appraisers having a really strong hand in determining whether a loan's going to go through or not because of that value. And we have to wait on them too. So sometimes there's instances where we have a deadline for an appraisal to come through and it doesn't come on in time. And I'm sure, appraisers are busy, et cetera, but we should be able to hit our deadlines like everybody else should in every part of the loan. However, I mean, it has been difficult. And then I agree that, coming with these third parties and to where I can't even talk to an appraiser or even know who the appraiser is until the report comes in. So, that lack of communication, when a realtor asks me, well, who's the appraiser? I have no idea.
Right.
I don't even get to see the report until after it's received into my system, and then I get to see it,
Right.
But the good thing about on my side, and then it might be just because of the investment side of it. So let's say like a primary residence, if it comes back that the value is lower, we are able to come in with comps if there are available comps. And that's one of the challenges that we're seeing is that a lot of agents and realtors are putting homes on the market that are not comparable. The homes will come back and they're much less than what they listed them for. And they can't even back it up with a comp. So that's one of the things that we're struggling with at the moment. And it might not even be the appraiser's fault on that part. But
yeah,
we can't point fingers at anybody in our industry, right?
Right. Oh man. What do you think where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, I do see myself developing a subdivision of at least 200 plus homes. I see myself maybe possibly getting an additional TV show from the one that I currently have. And maybe that's focusing on the new construction role of the real estate world. There's not a lot out there if you think about it.
Right.
So that might be something that's in the future.
So your show is it's real estate focused then, I'm gathering. So you went to the master plan community. What is like it's called the American Dream, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then what do you're focusing on the development that's going on in that corridor?
It's really anything. I really want to focus on the community, the events. I'm just really trying to show the world of what San Marcos looks like, what New Braunfels looks like. So if people were coming in to live, then they would know, oh, I saw this and I know that they have this kind of culture, this type of community, and this is what they have to offer.
My buddy just listed a gorgeous house in New Braunfels.
Oh, really? Oh,
huge.
It's beautiful there.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. He's got to move to Dallas for his job, so they're relocating. But I love that area. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're developing master giant communities. What else are you doing? What do you like doing? What are your hobbies outside of real estate?
Oh, I love to dance. So I just recently went to my first dance class. in over like 10 years. I used to be in it's called a Jill's team in high school. So it's comparable, and it's not, of course, but it's comparable to the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, how they do the kicks and stuff.
Okay.
I would do that. And that was the best part of our Jill team was doing the kicks. So I went to a dance class this past Friday. It was so much fun. It just really lifted my spirits because I hadn't danced in a dance studio in over 10 years. And it just was like, whoa, I'm going to continue to do this. Aside from that, I have 2 boys and we love to go outside. My oldest son is into football, so he's really digging in, getting into camps. So that's going to be one of our biggest things this summer, is going to camps and getting him into different things that's going to make him more a lot better than what he is now in football.
Gotcha.
So I'm excited about that. And my little guy, he says he wants to play soccer. We'll see how that goes. Yeah.
If you were to advise somebody that was looking to get into real estate investing, what kind of advice would you give them?
First, from learning from my mistakes, is you're going to have money. Regardless of what people say, you can do it without money. No, you're going to need money. I mean, yes, you can get money from other people that you know. You can wholesale and start stacking money. You can save from your paychecks, or you can get your side hustle from your 9 to 5, so you can start stacking that money. Otherwise, from that, you have to have money. I'm sorry, guys, but girls they don't have it right now.
It's true. It's true. It's expensive.
Yeah.
The interesting, is there any sort of tips that you could give for what type of loan product that somebody would be looking for if they were an investor, right? Because there's non-QM loans. People have no idea what that means most of the time. I buy all my stuff commercially. And so like even individual single family homes, I buy commercially. People don't even know that's a product. Like most people just go into real estate investing and they start buying them under their own name, under their own social security number, like FHA loans and that. So talk to me about that a little bit, because I think that's a weird gray area for people that they don't quite understand.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that you pointed out is personal name and social security number. I do not recommend that you purchase any properties as an investment in your personal or social security number. You are going to want to get an LLC, something that is separate from you personally. That's to protect you as an individual in many ways. So with that, there is a product to where if you're looking to invest and you're going to hold, meaning you're going to rent the house out, you can qualify based off of the cash flow of the property. So whatever the rental payment is, and then whatever the mortgage is going to be, so long as it comes to a percentage to where you're cash flowing, you can qualify based off of that. And of course, the value of the home, to where right now it's 15% down versus the 20 that you usually hear for a conventional loan. So this product allows as low as 15% down. And right now I have a product that starts with a 599 credit score. So even if you have low credit, that's okay. If you don't have a lot of income, we're not going to be looking at your income. We're not going to be looking at your tax returns, for self-employed borrowers who make a ton of money and then write off every bit of it. That's okay. In this instance, you can also purchase as many properties as you want to, and there's no limit on that versus a regular conventional loan where you put 20% down in your personal name and you only have a limit of 4. So this product is really, really good for anybody with those struggles, as well as getting into the investment. What do I say? The investment field. Yeah.
Yes. So asset-based lending.
Yes.
Is what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for that information. That a lot of people don't realize that. And
Mhm.
so it's a whole new world for people.
It definitely is.
What if you were going to start from scratch again, right? So 10 years ago,
Mhm.
what would you do differently in your real estate investing career?
I would have started sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always it for me. Whenever I bought my first house, I would have kept my first house. I always pass by it when I go to my hometown. I'm like, I'm gonna buy it back. I'm waiting for that sign to get back on the house. Yeah, I know it comes like it's not only sentimental, but that was the first home that, I worked really hard to be able to purchase. And I let it go, and it's worth a lot more now. If I would have just held it, if I would have just held it, rented it out, wasn't scared. At that time I was scared. I was scared, I was gonna possibly be a landlord and have an apartment, at least at that time when I moved away, and I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
But if I would have had the cojones like I do now, it would have been totally different.
Right.
Yeah, so definitely starting earlier, and definitely, and I'm not even at that point now, holding properties, definitely holding properties sooner than what I am at right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Real estate isn't a get rich quick scheme, is what I always say. But it
Yeah.
is a get rich scheme. It's not a scheme, but it's a get rich plan.
Yeah,
It just takes time.
it
And
does.
it takes time depending on how much cash you have available, things like that you've talked about, like
Mhm.
how much recurring cash can you throw at it, and then what your strategy is.
Yeah.
So everybody always asks me, like, what book should I read or where do I get started? And like Millionaire Real Estate Investor is my go-to recommendation. And the reason that is because he lays it out so well. Gary Keller wrote that book, and he lays it out so well on the 50 different strategies you could go at. I mean, he goes all the way Dave Ramsey, like buy 10 houses, pay them off in cash, and you've got $1,000 per door, kicking you $10,000 a month with paid off real estate. And you've got $1 million. These are $100,000 houses in this book. And then you've got $1 million worth of equity in 10 houses, right? Or scale to 100 leveraged houses. And they show like the differences behind it. And like, there's a bunch of other scenarios there, but it allows you to kind of work through the different scenarios based on your risk tolerance and really think about what you want to take on and the work associated with that. Because I can tell you flat out, owning a bunch of properties, owning 60 properties is way harder than owning 6. And like, so, I mean, you just kind of have to decide what you want to be doing and how you want to be spending your time. A lot of people are like, well, I'm not interested in that nonsense. I'd rather receive no phone calls, none of this. Like they're all about the 10 paid for houses with $200 a month going to management per door so that they never receive a phone call.
Mhm.
And that's okay too.
Yeah.
But the strategy I'm doing is scale, then sell half, pay off half, and then I'll have a bigger portfolio of paid off properties than the 10 they're suggesting. So like buy 150, sell 75, pay off 50 of them, keep 25 of them leveraged with the eventuality of paying those off, because there are tax benefits to having some of them not paid off too. So it's interesting, but I want to talk to you offline about some of the different products you have, because you have definitely added products since I've talked to you. So we'll chat some more, because I'm interested. I'm always interested in referring you business. I want to know what you've got, and I'm self-interested as well. Like, because like I said, I'm always moving stuff around and doing refis and things like that. But do you have any parting shots? How can people find you?
You guys can find me. I have a website. It's ashleyherrera.phonesites.com. That will have pretty much everything on there. I have my TikTok, my Facebook, my Instagram, my cell phone number. If you want to apply for a mortgage, I have my website on there too. All one-stop shop for you.
She's got it all on there. ashleyherrera.phonesites.com. We'll drop that in the show notes, link all your stuff in there. And thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. I'm so excited that you invited me, and I really appreciate our conversation we had today.
Absolutely. Me too. Me too.
Thank you for listening to the show. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend. We'll see you on the next episode of the Tactical Empire.